Hello, good evening and welcome to Nationwide at 6 on NDTV. I am Ankit Tyagi. Our focus this evening, ladies and gentlemen, on two very important stories. One, of course, is the NCERT versus judges. A chapter in Class 8 book of NCERT has triggered the judiciary. The CJI has taken suo motu cognizance and that has raised many questions. We'll get to the bottom of those questions on the course of the show. And then we'll shift our focus to this very unfortunate, sad story coming in from Goa. Another Thar, young people, and a 65-year-old killed. The young and the reckless are claiming lives, and after that, very quickly, he was given bail. What message are we sending across the country? This is not the only case. Life once lost doesn't come back. I have this full story for you, and also how parents should watch this very, very carefully. Your young adults, minors, should not be given the car if they don't drive responsibly. Minors should not be given car in any case. But I want to shift focus to our top story this evening. That is, of course, the NCERT versus the judges. It's a big face-off, in fact, between the judiciary and the NCERT, and through NCERT, let me say, between the judiciary and the government, over a new Class 8 textbook. The Supreme Court has expressed grave concern, the CJI taking the matter in his court, a suo motu cognizance after senior advocates Kapil Sibal, Abhishek Manu Singhvi from the bar, in fact, went and said that this chapter of the NCERT, which discusses corruption in judiciary and lists pending cases in courts as the chief challenges, has irked the judiciary. The Chief Justice of India, Justice Shaurya Goyal, has taken suo motu cognizance of this, warning that the court will not allow anyone to defame the institutions. After the court said this, sources are telling NDTV that the Supreme Court and the High Court judges are extremely perturbed. They feel this is an attack on the judiciary. Now, after the judiciary was angry, government sources tell us that the center is upset with the NCERT. So NCERT has been pushed and the government says that, listen, we have nothing to do with it. But we are extremely upset with what the NCERT has done. They indicate that the portion of the judicial corruption could be removed, adding that children should be taught inspirational things. Now, this controversy has triggered a larger debate. A debate about whether the judges are thin-skinned. Is there zero corruption as far as judiciary is concerned? We can list out cases after cases. And the recent one of Justice Verma, which tells you, ladies and gentlemen, that the corruption, unlike other arms of the governance, of executive, of judiciary, of every aspect of our society, judiciary is also not left untouched. Are the judges being thin-skinned? And why suo motu cognizance when it comes to you and not to other things? That's the one question. The other one is, who's trying to poison the vulnerable minds of children? These discussions are for adults, for people, those who can understand the consequences of these issues, those who have information, who can make informed opinions. Why put this out as far as children are concerned, and why only single out judiciary? These are very important questions that we will deal in the course of our show. But I want to very quickly first tell you exactly what the book said. The NCERT Class 8 book, in a chapter which was titled The Role of the Judiciary, the book says that people experience corruption at various levels of judiciary. The book then also speaks about the corruption graph worsens access to justice for the poor and the disadvantaged. It then speaks about the efforts to build faith and increase the transparency in judiciary. Swift action against instances of corruption wherever they have arisen. I mean, they also, in fact, quote ex-CJI, B.R. Gawai, on the corruption and misconduct in judiciary. Mr. Gawai, in his quote, had said that the corruption has a negative impact on public's confidence. One would assume that these are things that people should know. But after the backlash, there have been some changes. But before I tell you about the backlash, let me first tell you what are these changes? And because question is also being asked about why are these changes being brought to the NCERT books? Earlier edition of the NCERT books for class 8 students focused on the courts and the structure. The new edition details problems in the judiciary. So that's the difference. The earlier edition used to tell you what judiciary is, what they do. This time it also speaks about their corruption. The earlier edition focused on judicial independence, and now the new edition talks of judicial corruption. The earlier edition of the book focused on access to justice. The new edition lists pending cases in the court. So is it the NCERT waking up to the times, or is it too early to expose children of class 8 to such, in fact, important topics? This has irked the Chief Justice of India, Justice Suryakant. He, in fact, went on and he pulled the NCERT over the new chapter. He's been very tough on this. He has taken suo motu cognizance. He said, we will not allow anybody to defame the Supreme Court and the judiciary. The Supreme Court and High Court judges are absolutely perturbed by these assertions. And they have taken suo motu cognizance as well. The Supreme Court said that looks like a calculated move. Who are they attributing this to? Who is, in fact, making these moves, ladies and gentlemen? That remains a big question. Now, after the Supreme Court of India and the Chief Justice have taken such a stern view, the government sources has, in fact, come out and have spoken on this and have said that the government is very upset with what has happened. The government is upset with this section which has been included in the NCERT book. The portion on judiciary must be removed from the book. And such things should not be in the book. Kids should only be taught inspirational things. Chapter on judicial corruption could also be removed, is what the the sources are telling us at this moment. But this raises some important questions, and can we just come full frame on this? Can we just close in as far as these questions are concerned? The question is, why single out judiciary on corruption in the textbooks? Textbooks to educate kids or ingrain any kind of bias as far as judiciary is concerned. Wouldn't this paint a negative image of the judiciary in kids' minds? The other question also is the judiciary being thin-skinned about this issue, as if there is no corruption and there haven't been cases of corruption as far as judiciary is concerned? And why did the Supreme Court not take cognizance of other changes which have been done in the NCERT, which also some thought were problematic, whether it's the erasure of the Mughal history or chapters talking about our rich legacy of protest? The question that I also want to ask this evening is that judiciary, is it by saying that, oh, you are preaching this to the vulnerable minds, are you trying to push corruption cases under the carpet? When it comes to your own, any kind of criticism, you close in and you do not allow any sort of questions as far as judiciary is concerned. Is that what is happening at this moment? Let's try and put these questions at this moment to Justice Madan Lokur, former Supreme Court judge, who is joining me at this moment. Justice Lokur, thank you so much, sir, for joining me on this very important issue. I want to first, begin by asking you, sir, on this chapter, which has been included in the Class 8th book of the NCERT. The chapter is about the role of judiciary, and it highlights the challenges of the judiciary when it speaks about the backlog of the cases, the shortage of the strength of the judges, and it also speaks about judicial corruption. What do you make of this and what the CJI has said today?
You see, as far as I understand, the chapter in the NCERT book, first of all, is for class 8 students, right? The second thing is that the chapter is about the role of the judiciary in society. That's apparently what it was in the past. Now, how does corruption come in the role of the judiciary? That's not part of the role of the judiciary. Corruption is not a part of the role of the judiciary. So really, I don't know, what NCERT is trying to convey. The second part of your question about the reaction of the Honorable Chief Justice of India, it's fully justified. I mean, when you're talking about the role of the judiciary, where does corruption come into the picture? You say this is what the judiciary does, you know?
Sir, but can I ask you, with respect, that it's not that there is no corruption as far as judiciary is concerned. There have been cases, and I can point those cases out to you. We will. It's a full, in fact, number of cases that we have at least gotten in our research, and I want to, put your focus and attention on what happened recently with Justice Verma. In that case as well, sir. The judiciary failed to take any suo motu cognizance. It was only after hue and cry, the investigation was ordered. That case is also, in fact, for impeachment in the parliament. Why do you think that the realities of judiciary, and if there is any corruption, should not be taught to the children?
You see, it's the context is important. When we have a debate or a discussion on, like you say, the impeachment motion. You're having a debate between mature adults who are discussing this in a serious manner. You're not discussing it with class 8 students, right? Now, that is important. This chapter is in a textbook for class 8 students. So class 8 students are supposed to know that there is corruption in the judiciary, there's pendency, there's this, that, and the other, neither of which has anything to do with the role of the judiciary. It's a social science subject for which the book has been prepared. So when you talk about the role of the judiciary, you talk about the role of the judiciary.
Do you feel that, the judiciary is being singled out as far as the corruption is concerned? Not all other arms of the governance of the executive have been spoken in that sense. Is there a feeling that judiciary is being singled out? There is some sort of a pattern behind this?
Yes, it is being singled out. You see, has NCERT mentioned about corruption in the government? Have they mentioned anything about corruption in the legislature? If they say something about corruption in the legislature, there will be a privilege motion against them. But they've not said anything. Why?
But the other question, Justice Lokur, that I want to ask you, sir, it's not the first time that there is a question of tinkering as far as the NCERT books is concerned, whether it is Mughal history or, the chapter on rich legacy of India's protests and agitations. All that were removed. There was a lot of hue and cry about that. No suo motu cognizance was taken by the judiciary. Prashant Bhushan, a lawyer from the fraternity, came up and spoke about corruption charges against, former CJIs. There was defamation case against him. He was, in fact, held in contempt. It's the message that seems to be going out is when it comes to their own, only then the judiciary wakes up to try and protect their image, sir.
Well, I'm sorry, but I don't agree. You see, the judiciary is one of the pillars of our democracy. Parliament is one of the pillars of our democracy. Okay? Now, let NCERT say something about corruption in Parliament. Okay? I don't know whether there's corruption in Parliament or not, but let them put it as one of the challenges. And let's see what happens. Then will anybody say that, Parliament is trying to protect itself? Or the legislature is trying to protect itself? Forget about Parliament. The legislature, state legislature also. So it is the context that is important, And the context is that you are attacking an institution which is one of the pillars of democracy. And if you attack that institution, you're inviting trouble.
Can I then, in conclusion, ask you, sir, that there have been these instances where the government and the judiciary have had difference of opinion. whether it is the collegium, whether we are talking about, the charges of nepotism, whether it is, of course, some remarks which were made by the Vice President of India, former Vice President, even the Minister earlier. Do you see that as some sort of a continuation with this NCERT book, a message being sent towards the judiciary?
No, I don't. You see, because that was like I said, that was a discussion between mature adults on an intellectual issue. This is for class 8 students. Okay, so there's a world of a difference.
Thank you so much, Justice Lokur, for joining us on this very important issue. In fact, always good to have your views on such matters. Let me also at this moment shift my focus and bring our next guest on this. Mr. Ashwani Kumar is joining us. Thank you, Mr. Ashwani Kumar, for joining us on the broadcast. Former Law Minister, Senior Supreme Court lawyer. Sir, thank you for taking the time out. Let me begin by asking you, sir, the CJI has taken suo motu cognizance. He said that the bar and the bench, everybody is miffed, is agitated, is angry, is perturbed by what this class 8 chapter in the NCERT is trying to portray the judiciary as. Let me ask you this question, sir, as the former law minister and also as somebody who is from the fraternity. Do you see this as some kind of messaging going back and forth between the government and the judiciary? Because we have seen there have been differences of opinion in the government and the judiciary, whether it is the collegium or the recent case of Justice Verma as well.
Well, first of all, I don't want to read a conspiracy into everything that is not acceptable. It is true that the curricula, which is now under challenge, is unmistakably an act of constitutional transgression. And the reason is simple. Judiciary, as one of the foremost pillars of India's democracy, is critical to the functioning of democracy. It is critical to the functioning of the republic. It has been critical for safeguarding the core values of our nation. And therefore, if children of impressionable age are brought up with a teaching that judiciary as an institution is corrupt, you are striking at the core of our constitutional arrangement. This is hardly a lesson that is expected to be taught to the children without proof of pervasive corruption. I can concede that there could be some cases of judicial aberration. I can concede that there could be some glaring cases of wrongdoing, but that cannot be used to tarnish the entire institution with a brush. It is wholly impermissible. It is a constitutional heresy to teach children about a subject which is a prejudgment on the functioning of the judiciary. It is absolutely impermissible and wrong.
Sir, can I then ask you and press you further on this? Former CJI, Mr. Gawai, in fact, in one of his speeches had said that we will have to accept that there are, cases of, like you call them, aberration, that corruption in judiciary erodes the trust of the public as far as the justice system is concerned. Then, taking that further, what's the harm if the children are also taught about the challenges that the judiciary is facing? We can't just say that there is zero corruption as far as the judiciary is concerned.
It's trying to elevate gossip as gospel. That's exactly what is happening. A few cases that lead to a particular perception cannot be taken as the whole truth. And what you need to teach to the children is the whole truth. You can't pick out an aberration, and those aberrations exist in all institutional functioning all over the world. There are good people, there are some black sheep, but those black sheep cannot be used to tarnish entire institutions. After all, if nations have progressed, if nations have gone so far ahead as India has gone, I'm sure the institutions of Indian democracy have been functioning well. So therefore, to start creating suspicion in the mind of children of impressionable age from day one that your core institutions have been hollowed out, I think, does not do justice to truth. And where is the empirical evidence to suggest pervasive judicial corruption? A few instances here and there cannot be used to come to the conclusion of pervasive corruption so as to use that subject in the curricula of school children. I think it is not only an act of great indiscretion on the part of NCERT, it is a constitutional heresy. That is how I will put it.
Okay, but is the judiciary being, thin-skinned about when it comes to criticism as far as the judiciary is concerned? Because like in a democracy, every other arm, judiciary should also be open to criticism or questions at times. Because, a lot of people are saying there have been so many important issues where no suo motu cognizance was taken. But when it comes to a question or a line about the judiciary, the CJI and the entire, judicial systems comes out very heavily on whosoever those make, that makes those assumptions, sir.
Look, let us be balanced in our censor of the judiciary. And your question is, in a way, a censor of the judiciary, that you are not applying standards equally. Now, please understand that the suo motu cognizance is not a matter of routine. This is something which is resorted to when there's a very, very grave act that requires the direct intervention or a suo motu intervention by the court. Now, here it is not a question of somebody casting an aspersion on a single judge or for a single judgment, which can be dealt with by other mechanisms, as we know. But here, what was at stake was a whole-scale censor in the NCERT sanctioned textbooks for children. It is a matter, it is no ordinary matter. And the Chief Justice of India, true to the mandate of his constitutional post, definitely took the right step in taking a suo motu cognizance of the matter. And I hope that this would now lead to something that would end this controversy, this very unsuitable controversy and very, very unfortunate controversy should now be put to an end. And I think the intervention of Honorable the Chief Justice will certainly help to achieve that purpose.
Can I then ask you in conclusion, sir, you've been on both sides, as you are a lawyer and you've been a minister of law as well. Can I then understand, is there some sort of understanding between both these arms, between the judicial arm and the executive, that there needs to be certain reforms, that there needs to be certain extensive, acceptances, and of course, better messaging, and whether it is collusion or it is charges of nepotism, or in certain cases, as you are saying, the aberration of corruption as well. Do you believe that it's time for judiciary to be more open as far as, or possibly go into some sort of reforms in the way it is functioning?
Reforms in any institution are always welcome. And these reforms are always undertaken in the light of experience. And if certain reforms are necessary, whether it be in the collegium system or in another system, so be it. I must take this opportunity to state on record that I do not subscribe to the collegium system as it is constituted today. In fact, when I was the law minister, the government had come out with a proposal of expanding the collegium system. I still believe that the collegium system needs to be expanded. But that's a view, and we are entitled to express our view, and in time, depending on the wisdom of the future years, some reforms will take place. That is one thing. But to say that the entire judicial branch is corrupt, or, like I said, if someone were to say that the entire legislative branch is corrupt, or the entire executive branch is corrupt, it will be wholly unacceptable. You see, there has to be a balance in discourse, particularly when it comes to constitutional institutions. The sanctity of the institutions is preserved in the last resort upon the good sense and wisdom of the critics and those who mean well. Those who mean well must also use their words with care and must also take decisions with care. For example, NCERT must mean well, but this is certainly an unforgivable and an unacceptable thing that they have done.
So thank you for sharing your views on this. Good to have you and have your views on the broadcast. Let me also very quickly now turn my attention to Mr. Aman Lekhi, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court, who is joining me on the broadcast for more on this. Mr. Lekhi, thank you so much for joining us. Let me begin by asking you, what do you make of this, the whole controversy that has come as far as the NCERT books is concerned? It's speaking about challenges of the judiciary. It speaks about corruption, but it also speaks about pending cases and, of course, the shortage of judicial staff. What do you make of this? Is there a sense, because the Chief Justice said it seems to be a calculated move, we are going to get to the bottom of this. Is there a sense that it was a premeditated messaging towards the judiciary?
Well, the issue here is framing, the way in which a narrative is created, because that creates signaling of sorts. My objection is not to accountability or transparency, which is absolutely indispensable for any efficiently working system, and whatever is wrong needs to be called out. However, that said, what my objection to the way in which the presentation has been made is corruption has been shown to be a judiciary-specific flaw. Now, judiciary is part of a governance system. When judiciary is part of a governance system, there are flaws in the system. And it's not as if institutionally, when you talk about corruption, you need to focus only on one organ. If you read this particular chapter, what the chapter suggests, and that is where the framing comes in, and in the framing is the delegitimization of the judiciary. And that is what I have a very serious objection to. The way in which the chapter is framed suggests that there are problems and the governments are working to solve those problems. Now, who is the government? The government is the executive. That means you place the executive at a level higher than the judiciary and attach to it a purity which it doesn't have to show that what the executive has, the judiciary lacks, and therefore the corruption is in the judiciary and not in the executive. And it is in this narrative that the misconception about a very fundamental body, which has in law the moral authority to decide, is directly impacted. Now, when you teach, you have to give adequate attention to all facets. And when you attack, you have to be objective in what you do and bring within your focus everything which is relevant. A disproportionate attention to one aspect in some way sullies the critique because it suggests that there is something behind the criticism. And we have this, we have on a sundry basis, everyone talking about judiciary. It's not as if I'll hold the judiciary to account for many things which are wrong in the judiciary. But what I'm saying is, things are not wrong only in the judiciary. And the manner in which it is presented is itself wrong. And it is unbecoming of an educational book to teach students who are impressionable in this particular manner, which has a slant to it. That's my...
But then can I ask you, sir, because point in case is Justice Verma's recent case. It has gone to the Parliament. There has been an inquiry which was done by the Supreme Court, though not suo moto. It was only after a lot of pressure that the inquiry was constituted by the Supreme Court. And then it is in the Parliament waiting for that impeachment motion, the wheels to turn on that. On back of it, we heard the former Vice President, Mr. Dhankar, making comments about the judiciary, saying that the Parliament is supreme, not the judiciary, talking about the corruption. Former Law Minister, Mr. Rijiju, had also, in fact, spoken about selecting judges and even gone on to say that, about the whole collegium process. There have been points of confrontation between the government and the judiciary. Is the judiciary being thin-skinned, as the question that I've been asking, when it comes to some sort of criticism as far as corruption cases are concerned, sir?
No, absolutely not. Please understand. You see, that's what I said. This is part of a system. The system has got different bodies. As far as the system is concerned, you have the executive. And what is the problem with the executive? Discretion and power. Then you've got the bureaucracy. What is the problem with the bureaucracy? Rent-seeking. The legislature. What's the problem with the legislature? Captive to a political party that is robbed of its independent intellectual worth. What is wrong with the system? An easy illustration. Opacity in funding. As far as the financing is concerned, financing is the key to corruption in this particular system which we have. Who is responsible? Who is responsible for the electoral bonds? What are these issues over here? Now, what I am saying is when we talk about the system, we talk about the system as a whole, and we address all issues in the system, and we want to educate. We have to educate the student about the manner in which the governance operates, so that there is a comprehensive view of what our system is, the failing in this particular system, and not an unnecessary and disproportionate emphasis on one of the institution which constitutes the structure of governance.
Right.
So all
right.
I'm saying is that yes, call it out. The problem with Indians is that we hesitate to stand up to a wrong and call a wrong out. So I'm not in any way saying don't call out the judiciary. Yes, there are issues the judiciary has to account for, but the judiciary cannot be silent. When the judiciary is made the subject of a targeted attack, which brings a disproportionate attention on the judiciary, when there are equally compelling aspects relating to the executive, and the manner in which, and this is what I'm saying, if I had, because you had called me over here, I had a quick glance on what is it that the chapter says. That if you read that particular chapter, it says the governments, that is the union government, the state governments, are taking steps to work on it. That is where I bring this particular issue into its sharpest focus, because it suggests that as far as the government is concerned, the government is pristine, the government is pure, the government is untainted. And where is the problem? The problem is in the judiciary being addressed by the government. What will the students understand? Please understand, and just 1 minute.
Yes.
Judiciary is a very important organ. Because it's a very important organ, there's a higher responsibility on judiciary. And I am very conscious of that. We have to. All the more reason that we talk about the judiciary, there has to be element of restraint and objectivity. Both are absent here.
The sources are telling us, Mr. Lekhi, that the government, after the pushback, the NCERT may in fact, revoke this chapter. But many would say that it was some sort of a kite flying to see the kind of reaction. It was a kind trying to send a message to the judiciary, and if it has not gone down well, now it is being retracted.
No, you see, that is the biggest problem in this country. What is the problem in this country? We run away from controversies. Question is, controversies are not bad. Controversies bring into focus an issue which is to be debated. Now, if you bring a chapter, it's not something like in the AI event, we are talking about a university and we're not talking about the ministry, because who improved that particular dog to come over there? The ministry. But we focus on the university, an easy target. Now, what happens is you will target the gentleman who's made the chapter, but the question is the chapter would have been approved, and unless the chapter is approved, it would not have been published. The point is that you believe in this particular thing. If you believe in this particular thing, stand by it and then defend it. Now, if you don't defend it, what is the message you are telling the kids? That this is also education. Education is not only the chapter. Education is in conduct. Education is how do you deal with controversies. Education is how you take a stand. What is the government teaching the students? After you take a stand, when there's a controversy, run away. What kind of education is this? This is no education at all. And that is it. The pedagogic basis of this particular process is self-taught. Because we are just towards book learning, and we shrink from controversies. We should invite controversies. I have a view. You have a different view. I'm entitled to address your view and try to persuade you. If
Absolutely.
I can't, too bad. But the point is, you are not going to, because you are going to criticize me, I'm not going to run away. I said, sorry, I'm going to switch my screen off and go away.
I think that's we'll leave it there. That's quite forthcoming and straightforward point of view, at least from you, not running away from the stand that you have taken. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on the broadcast on this very important issue because of this chapter which had arisen as far as the judiciary is concerned. All right, now I want to shift focus, ladies and gentlemen, to the other big story. And this is something, remember, at least if you've been watching NDTV, you've been following this particular program. We are very, very sensitive about cases in which a common man loses its life, of cases of absolute irresponsible behavior at the hands of the young or anybody. And this case which comes in from Goa is absolutely one more example of how easy and how cheap life is in this country. I want to tell you about what you are seeing at this moment. This 19-year-old Shaurya Goyal. And he's now the main protagonist as far as this case is concerned. And this shocking case of rash driving in Goa, where Shaurya, along with few of his friends, was driving this car which hit and rammed Another vehicle in which another tourist was present, a 65-year-old man lost his life. The accused, 19-year-old Shaurya Goyal from Delhi, was in Goa on vacation. Police say he was behind the wheel when the SUV crashed into another vehicle, leading to the death of the elderly man. Goyal has been arrested but granted bail within few hours, raising serious questions about the investigators who are probing this case and whether they are serious about probing this case as an attempt to murder on serious charges. Why is it that it was only negligible driving, accident due to negligence? That's the only case which was, in fact, slapped against him. Meanwhile, speaking to NDTV, the accused mother has been making startling claims. She said her son did not flee the spot, was not drunk, and insists the victim died of a heart attack. Imagine your son took somebody's life and you have the gall to come out and say, well, he took that life, but he was in his senses. He was not even drunk. And that man died because he had to die because of an heart attack. The car collision was just a trigger to that heart attack. Let's listen into some reactions.
Person who was driving the accused person, his name is Mr. Shaurya Goyal, son of Apurva Goyal, age 19 years. He was from Hauz, South West Delhi. He drove his Mahindra Thar vehicle bearing registration number GA03V5695 while proceeding from Mapsa to Anjuna in a rash and negligent manner without taking proper care and caution and injuring human life.
Now there is another twist to this story. This woman that you see on your screens, very clearly after the accident, at least in this video which has been seen, at least the assertion made by an eyewitness is that Shaurya Goyal was not driving the car. It was the other woman in the red, dress that she's sitting with Shaurya, was the one who was driving the car. And after the accident, they swapped the driving seat. This is the assertion which has been made by, an eyewitness, and I want you to listen to that.
म्हणतात ते ताराचे प्रॉब्लेम आशिल्ले तार गाडी चलयताले पळय तेंचे चेडू चलयताले एकले गोवा तेणें मारल्या उपरांत गाडी शिफ्ट केली ड्रायव्हिंग सीट चेंज केलें तेंचे आनी तितलेंच आतां मारल्या उपरांत ते दोग जाण सिनियर सिटीजन मातशे सिरियस जाल्ले आसा आनी धाकटुले बेबी आहले ते मातशे हांव नको कहें करून ते बरें जालें नॉर्मल जालें
एक्सिडेंट कसो कितें गाडयो खंयसून खंय येतल्यो
एक्सिडंट ते एक विनायका रोड आसा पळय आनी एक वो पारा वयता एक अंजुना वयता ती म्हापश्यां वयताली पळय.
Stay with me because there is another video which has emerged, and in this video the angle absolutely destroyed I-20 is also being seen moments after the collision. The boy, that's Shaurya Goyal, from the Thar steps out and is heard speaking to his father and says, "Dad, I was driving, another car was coming at the intersection and suddenly there was a crash." This is all happening while people are talking about the fact that he was not on the driver's seat and he swapped it with the girl who was actually driving. That's what the eyewitnesses are saying. I just want you to hear that. Can we play that out, please?
मतलब चौराहा था मैं जो सामने से पे एक नंबर दूसरी साइड से आ रहा था एंड जस्ट क्रैश पापा मतलब चौराहा था मैं जो सामने से पे एक नंबर दूसरी साइड से आ रहा था एंड जस्ट क्रैश पापा मतलब चौराहा था मैं जो सामने से पे एक नंबर दूसरी साइड से आ रहा था एंड जस्ट क्रैश पापा मतलब चौराहा.
With more details as far as this case is concerned, Akhil, just bring our viewers the update because there are a lot of questions which have been asked about the manner in which the police is going ahead with the investigation. He has already been given bail even after a life has been lost. And now the family says that, look, our son did a favor. He was not drunk and he did not flee the spot.
Well, that's right, Ankit. If you see initially when that incident has taken place, at that point in time, there were 5 individuals who were sitting inside that very car, 4 girls and one boy who has been identified as a 19-year-old Shaurya Goyal. So all of them were going from the Mapusa side towards the Anjuna side. And when that collision has taken place, there was a head-on collision. There were multiple versions that have been coming out. And after that, what we have also seen that the Goa police team has pressed in several sections, and all those sections were bailable sections. And what we have seen that even after getting arrested, this individual got the bail and he's out on bail right now. And while speaking to the NDTV, when we tried to confront this very individual and the family, we tried to speak, the mother of the accused has said that at that point in time when that incident has taken place, if you see the victim over there, now deceased, could have been alive if he was taken a little bit early, because there was certainly a delay of approximately 45 minutes due to which he lost his life. And the reason he was giving that the person now deceased has died due to a heart attack. This is the reason they have given. But if you see, for that, we will have to wait to get the post-mortem report. So once the post-mortem report will come out, then things will become more clearer, Ankit, that what was the exact reason of that death. Was it the heart attack?
Right.
Or was it the impact due to which what we have seen that due to the collision, the impact has created so much of fatal injury due to which this individual has lost his life?
Whether even if it is an heart attack induced by the collision, even then the people driving that other car which rammed this vehicle are responsible, ladies and gentlemen. And we are playing out some, other instances of how young people think that they can do whatever they want in life and get away with it because possibly they have parents who are powerful, rich. And in all these cases, there is only one question in India: what is the value of life? And can these young brats get away with literal murder as well because of their recklessness? I'll leave you with that question. Coming back with much more on the other side. Stay tuned.
करियर से अर्ली रिटायरमेंट के लिए रेडी और अपने पैशन को करियर बनाने के लिए भी रेडी। पीएनबी मेटलाइफ रिटायरमेंट प्लान्स के साथ लॉक करें 10.2% गारंटीड एन्युटी रेट फॉर लाइफ ताकि आप रहे ऑलवेज रेडी। पीएनबी मेटलाइफ, ऑलवेज रेडी फॉर लाइफ।
From 1983 to now, I have seen cricket evolve, but the mindset to win never changed. I tell you that what win matches and what doesn't. This T20 World Cup, let's talk cricket, controversies and more on NDTV.
After the roaring success in Delhi, Hyderabad and Mumbai, the NDTV DP World PGTI Golf Pro-Am now travels to Ahmedabad. India's finest professionals, the city's most accomplished business leaders. Great golf, great company. NDTV DP World PGTI Golf Pro-Am. The course of champions, the conversation of leaders. 8th March, Kalhar Blues and Greens, Ahmedabad.
Across the country.
He has tracked the pulse of power from Washington to Korea. Witnessed history being made in global capitals and conflict zones. Brought clarity to complex issues of national security and international affairs. Aditya Raj Kaul, covering international affairs like no one else. Only on NDTV network.
First India tour in your city. Rock on with Shankar Ehsan Loy and Siddharth Mahadevan and Shivam Mahadevan. 5 times melody, 5 times masti with NDTV Good Times. Go grab your tickets.
करियर से अर्ली रिटायरमेंट के लिए रेडी और अपने पैशन को करियर बनाने के लिए भी रेडी। पीएनबी मेटलाइफ रिटायरमेंट प्लान्स के साथ लॉक करें 10.2% गारंटीड एन्युटी रेट फॉर लाइफ ताकि आप रहे ऑलवेज रेडी। पीएनबी मेटलाइफ, ऑलवेज रेडी फॉर लाइफ।
Alright team, our new auto show is ready. Now we need a promo. Something cool, something sharp.
Well, I'm sure we'll be having outstanding reviews, solid suggestions,
Expert advice. The latest trends. It's a lot simpler. We'll help people make the right auto decisions. It's got the cool stuff, geeky stuff, serious stuff, all of it, so that you can discover, decide and drive. I'm Siddharth Sharma and I am your automate.
what seems settled for me is unfinished business. So I rewind, I pause, I reflect, I dig until what's buried stands up to be counted. Breaking ground, not just headlines, the meaning behind them. This is Breaking Ground with me, Vedika Sood.
Straight from the heart of the newsroom to the core of the stories shaping your world. Join me, Gargi Raut, as I track all the developments as they break. Live from the NDTV newsroom, weekdays at 4 p.m.
First India tour in your city. Rag on with Shankar Ehsaan Loy and Siddharth Mahadevan and Shivam Mahadevan. 5 times melody, 5 times masti with NDTV Good Times. Go, grab your tickets.
Sound check हो गया? Visuals ready? Lights okay? Everything is ready? Wait, are you ready? ये सिर्फ एक कॉन्सर्ट नहीं है. This is my life. This is my story. One night, no repeats. Book your tickets now.
इनको यहाँ से जाना ही होगा.
जय मां दुर्गा!
There is no bigger battle in 2026. And nobody has reported Bengal like I have. Buckle up for an unforgettable election thriller. Will the BJP breach Mamta's fortress?
TMC जावे, BJP आसपे.
Can Didi fight off her life's biggest challenge?
BJP double engine সরকার এই লড়াই বাঁচতে হবে.
Battleground Bengal with Manogya Loiwal.
The front lines of Kargil. The fury of Operation Sindhu.
So many attacks.
The chaos and cries of disaster zones. To fighter jet cockpits. And the world's most defining interviews.
It's incredible.
He has seen history break. Live. Unfiltered. 20,000 hours of live broadcasting.
Welcome to Left, Right and Center.
Hard facts.
War-struck country.
Hard questions.
In the Ukraine.
30 years of trust.
In the Kargil area. North Ukraine. In France, in Italy. At Srinagar. And in Vikrant. Vishnu Shom for NDTV.
Vishnu Shom. Only on NDTV.
There's breaking news coming in at this moment. Kerala Health Minister has been injured after protest by the Congress party. The Congress protest against the minister turned violent. The minister allegedly was physically assaulted. That's the assertion of the party. Injured Veena George has been admitted to a hospital. Visuals coming in at this moment where Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan has met Veena George at the hospital. Ahead of the elections in Kerala, things are heating up. We'll keep a very close track on this story. Coming back with much more on the other side of a short break. Stay tuned.
करियर से अर्ली रिटायरमेंट के लिए रेडी और अपने पैशन को करियर बनाने के लिए भी रेडी। पीएनबी मेटलाइफ रिटायरमेंट प्लान्स के साथ लॉक करें 10.2% गारंटीड एन्युटी रेट फॉर लाइफ ताकि आप रहे ऑलवेज रेडी। पीएनबी मेटलाइफ, ऑलवेज रेडी फॉर लाइफ।
After the roaring success in Delhi, Hyderabad and Mumbai, the NDTV DP World PGTI Golf Pro-Am now travels to Ahmedabad. India's finest professionals, the city's most accomplished business leaders. Great golf, great company. NDTV DP World PGTI Golf Pro-Am. The course of champions, the conversation of leaders. 8th March, Kalhar Blues and Greens, Ahmedabad.
Across the country.
He has tracked the pulse of power from Washington to Korea. Witnessed history being made in global capitals and conflict zones. Brought clarity to complex issues of national security and international affairs. Aditya Raj Kaul, covering international affairs like no one else. Only on NDTV network.
First India tour in your city. Rock on with Shankar Ehsan Loy and Siddharth Mahadevan and Shivam Mahadevan. 5 times melody, 5 times masti with NDTV Good Times. Go grab your tickets.
करियर से अर्ली रिटायरमेंट के लिए रेडी और अपने पैशन को करियर बनाने के लिए भी रेडी। पीएनबी मेटलाइफ रिटायरमेंट प्लान्स के साथ लॉक करें 10.2% गारंटीड एन्युटी रेट फॉर लाइफ ताकि आप रहे ऑलवेज रेडी। पीएनबी मेटलाइफ, ऑलवेज रेडी फॉर लाइफ।
Alright team, our new order show is ready. Now we need a promo. Something cool, something sharp.
Well, I'm sure we'll be having outstanding reviews, solid suggestions,
Expert advice. The latest trends. It's a lot simpler. We'll help people make the right auto decisions. It's got the cool stuff, geeky stuff, serious stuff, all of it, so that you can discover, decide and drive. I'm Siddharth Sharma and I am your Automate.
What seems settled for me is unfinished business. So I rewind. I pause. I reflect. I dig until what's buried stands up to be counted. Breaking ground, not just headlines, the meaning behind them. This is Breaking Ground with me, Vedika Sood.
Straight from the heart of the newsroom to the core of the stories shaping your world. Join me, Gargi Raut, as I track all the developments as they break. Live from the NDTV newsroom, weekdays at 4 p.m.
First India tour in your city. Rock on with Shankar Ehsan Loy and Siddharth Mahadevan and Shivam Mahadevan. 5 times melody, 5 times masti with NDTV Good Times. Go grab your tickets.
Sound check हो गया? Visuals ready? Lights okay? Everything is ready? Wait, are you ready? ये सिर्फ एक कॉन्सर्ट नहीं है. This is my life. This is my story. One night, no repeats. Book your tickets now.
इनको यहाँ से जाना ही होगा.
जय मां दुर्गा! और क्यों रोए?
There is no bigger battle in 2026. And nobody has reported Bengal like I have. Buckle up for an unforgettable election thriller. Will the BJP breach Mamta's fortress? Can Didi fight off her life's biggest challenge?
বিজেপি ডাবল ইঞ্জিন সরকার এই লড়াই বাঁচতে হবে।
Battleground Bengal with Manogya Loiwal.
The front lines of Kargil. The fury of Operation Sindhu.
Welcome back. India's race to energy independence isn't just about more power plants, it's about smarter choices. It's about, by every citizen, from homes saving 30% on electricity bills to factories cutting millions of units. Consumer behavior is the new superpower. Technology gives the tools, while conscious Indians harness them for greener tomorrow. Leading this revolution for over 60 years is Schneider Electric. In conversation with NDTV, Deepak Sharma, MD and CEO of Schneider Electric India, sheds light on the roadmap ahead.
India's progress is powered by energy, but true progress lies in how wisely we use it. At Schneider Electric, we believe that the most sustainable energy is the energy we save. Every unit saved through smarter technologies and conscious choices brings us closer to a greener future. We have been at the forefront of driving sustainable progress in India for the last 60 plus years, and we are here to electrify, automate, and digitize every industry, business, and home. Let's power the future responsibly. Join the One Unit mission. Be a Green Yodha.